As I hit record, I will now say the time is now 7:22 a.m. a.m. Central Standard Time. That's Texas time, y'all. It is Sunday morning. It is Father's Day. It is the first day of summer. It is the summer solstice. It is the longest day of the year. And so welcome. Welcome to the last day of week 25. My name is Kenya. You're either watching me on Facebook or you're watching me on YouTube. If you're watching me on Facebook, it's because my live streaming privileges have been suspended at my channel Boulevard 40, which I will show you in just a moment. And if you're watching me on YouTube, you are watching a replay of this. And I invite you to check out the other Bible readings preceding this and some of the other Bible topics that I am covering. I could have done a screen share. I just thought about that. Instead of showing you on my phone, I could have set up a screen share. But welcome Facebook and welcome YouTube. I'm eating just a little bit of bagel to coat my stomach, protect my stomach, as I'm drinking coffee. And this is a screen share of the channel that you would go to if you are watching me through Facebook. You'll go to YouTube, you will type in either this word right here. Let's see. If you go to YouTube, you will either type in this right here, Boulevard 40, or you can type in hashtag BLVD40, and you will come to this page where, as you can see here on the banner, Christian studies, positive vibes, healthy minds. Most of the material on here will be Bible readings, as you can see from the tab that I'm getting ready to hit. It says videos. These are all the videos, so you can go back at any time and re-listen to any of these Bible readings, which I'm reading the Bible every day. That's my New Year's resolution. Read the Bible every day from well, not necessarily from front to back, but I am going through the entire Bible. Reading the entire Bible. I need to specify that. Read the entire Bible in a year. This is my latest upload that I was just telling the Facebook audience about. It is called The Death of Jezebel, and it's basically going over something that was covered earlier this week. The death of Jezebel in the book of 2 Kings. Uh-oh, I just realized I need to change some of these thumbnails. Some of these thumbnails still say 1 Kings. Look at that. Oh, I'm glad I did the screen share with you guys. See that? We're in 2 Kings and it still says 1 Kings. So I'll do that after the live. But anyways, the death of Jezebel happened in 2 Kings chapter 9, verse 30 through 37. And it goes into details of wild dogs eating her body, which is what's happening here. And I did a little bit of reflection and deep diving into the way that she died and, why that particular those parts of her body were left behind. So yes, come to this page. Make sure you subscribe to me on YouTube at Boulevard 40. And when my live streaming privileges are restored, I'll be hosting the Bible reading party here. But until then, I am here with you on Facebook. Now let me switch over to my Kindle Cloud Reader so we can see this lovely guide that I've been using. This is how I've been pacing myself. So if you're ever thinking to yourself, maybe I'll read the Bible, but I don't even know where to start. This guide that I'm using might be the way for you. Or maybe you might want to use something else. But this is what I've been using. go to the cover first. This is the cover. A Woman's Guide to Reading the Bible in a Year, a life-changing journey into the heart of God. And the author's name is Diane Stortz. And yes, this is a Kindle download. I think I paid about $9 for it. And I might be about $12, a little bit more for the physical copy, but it has all the same information. And if you get the Kindle download, you'll be able to go through the chapters just like I'm doing right now. For example, these are the table of contents. And as you notice, as I'm going through, it says week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, and each week has a title, and those titles are actually themes, overall themes, or overarching things of what's going on in the reading. You can use this I'm using it on my computer, I'm using it on my laptop. You can use this on your phone. You can use it on your tablet. Yeah, Kindle is good for all devices. Here we go. Week 25 right here. It says disobedience, decline, and disaster. And yes, that describes everything I've been reading this week. In the gold box, you'll see the word read, which shows you what you should be reading Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Right here at the bottom where it's Sunday. So I need to be reading chapters 22 through 25. And over here it says checkpoints. And those are just special things that are happening throughout the reading that you need to be aware of or keep an ear out for. I believe a lost and found book is probably what we're going to cover today. A lost and found book. And that's that. So let me bring you back. And welcome to the people in the room. I gotta make sure. I gotta make sure that I look at the. I got too many tabs open. Hope I don't get rid of you guys because I got 2 Facebooks open. There we go. I need to make sure that I scroll because yesterday I missed comments at the bottom that I didn't realize I had to scroll because Facebook is different than YouTube. YouTube, the chat will just go by itself. And no, on this one, I have to manually push it to make sure that I'm getting all the messages at the bottom. So yes, Brother Terry was in the house. He was the early bird in the room. Terry W. Thompson, he is an entrepreneur. He is a fellow YouTube content creator, and he actually helps people with writing their books. Not the way that Scully does. Scully is one of my YouTube friends that actually helps you write and the writing process. But Mr. Thompson actually helps you to market your book and then to advertise it and to get exposure for your books. And he does some other things like helping you with websites and SEO, which is search engine optimization, all that good stuff that if you have a website and an online presence, he's the go-to guy to reach out to and connect to so that you can optimize what you're trying to do online. So that is my connection with him. And I don't know if he's still in the room, but if you are, Brother Terry, happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to you and good morning. Also in the room over here at Facebook is Kiana Nicole, who says, good morning, 40 fam. And I apologize, but she was at the bottom of the screen and I did not see it until I got off the live because I didn't scroll up. So good morning to Kiana Nicole, who is also, I was going to come up with this idea, but she got to it before me. I was going to say it, but she is the person who started the 40 fam. Yes. Miss Kiana Nicole is the inventor of that term or the origin of that term 40 fam. So if you are watching me on Boulevard 40 or if you follow me on 40 Entrepreneur Drive, either way you are part of the 40 fam, and you can go check me out at Facebook at my 40 fam. Be a part of that group there. Check out some of the extra bonus content that I have on Facebook pertaining to business and entrepreneurship. Laverne Dorsey's in the house. Says, morning, everyone. And she said it just like that. The head holds the eyes for vision. Ooh. Yeah. The head holds the mouth for speech. The head holds the ears for hearing. What does all that have to do with Jezebel? What did she see? What did she not see? What did she say? What should she have not said? What did she hear, or which did she refuse to hear? Very good. Yes, 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 yes. Terry Thompson says, have a great day. My kids just woke up, so I'm heading out to go take care of them. Okay. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for wishing me happy Father's Day. Oh, okay. So you was here at the last minute. Okay, cool, cool. I gotta remember to scroll that beautiful bean footage. All right, you guys, enough yammering. Yam. We're here to read the Bible because it's a Bible reading party. It's time to get it started. I hear music in the background when I do that, but you guys don't hear it. But if you guys could hear the music, you'd be like, hey, nice joint you got here. This is my Bible. This is the New Believer's Bible. You can use your King James, you can use your New International Version, you can use different types of translations, but this is what I use. So if you are not familiar with the Bible and you're not comfortable reading maybe the King James or one of the classic ones, I highly recommend this one. Yeah, that's what I use. It is the New Believer's Bible, New Living Translation. He says, yes, scroll. Have a great day. Thank you, sir. You too. That's what I use. In addition to my Bible, I have a biblical reference. It is the Nelson's Compact Series Bible Dictionary. I think I got this from Half Price Books. It says Mardell, which is a Christian bookstore, but it was like $5 or $6. So yes, invest. It's not going to take you a whole lot of money, and it's a lifelong investment so that you can prepare yourself. Get prepared, because we are in a war, and I'm not talking about the kind that you put on a uniform for. Well, technically, was that Galatians that we were or Ephesians? Putting on the full armor of God, In either case, we're in a war, you guys. We are in a war right now. We're in a spiritual war. Whether you want to sign up for it or whether you want to dodge the draft, guess what? You're a part of the war. And these are your weapons. Well, maybe not this one. This is your weapon. This is what you need to arm yourself with. Mentally, intellectually, reading intellectually. The Bible is an intellectual thing. It's a literary thing. It's a spiritual thing. So you need to arm yourself with this knowledge physically by reading it with those eyeballs that Laverne Dorsey talked about. Spiritually by praying over it and praying for understanding so that you can get something from it. And then physically by applying what you learn, because you must learn. You must learn. Yeah, you got to learn and then you got to apply it to your life so you can be ready, because we are in war. All right, we're in 2 Kings. Let me do the recap. Recap what we read yesterday. It's the recap. Recap is what we read yesterday. I was so thrown off this week. You guys know, what was that, Thursday or Friday? Excuse me, I hope you don't hear me burping that coffee. I was supposed to be reading 15, 16, and 17 on Friday, and I read a little bit further, but I fixed it. So by Saturday, yesterday, I read 18, 19, 20, and 21. That's the recap that I'm going to show you right now. This is what happened if you weren't here, if you fell asleep, if you had to go out and do something and you were multitasking. You're like, yeah, I was here, but not really, but I was here. But yeah, I'm going to refresh your memory right now. In chapter 18, Hezekiah rules in Judah. Assyria invades Judah. Sennacherib threatens Jerusalem, and Sennacherib, y'all remember Sennacherib, right? That was Big Mouth. You got a big mouth, big mouth. Now that is another song from the 80s or 90s. You got a big mouth, a big mouth, a big mouth. Talk about people who always want to run their mouth. That was Sennacherib. Assyria is this and Assyria is that, and we've conquered this place and we've conquered that place. What makes you think your God is going to stop us from conquering your place right now? Your God ain't done. Ooh, Sennacherib should have zipped the lip because we know what happened in chapter 19. The angel of the Lord came down and killed, was it 1,800 or 18,000? The angel of the Lord came down and killed. I might be jumping ahead, but it happened. It happened yesterday. I just want to make sure that I'm telling you guys the right. I want to make sure that I'm reading the right chapter for you. Hezekiah seeks the Lord's help. So Hezekiah, in spite of him kind of um, defiling the temple a little bit and stripping it down of all its gold, because in the beginning Hezekiah was trying to make peace with this king and giving him this gold, even by stripping the temple doors and the posts and different things, and trying to placate him. And even though he was, this is the funny thing, sometimes you try to make somebody happy and you try to make these sacrifices and you try to do these things like Hezekiah was. They take that thing that you were trying to do and they say, you couldn't even do this, and look at this, look what you're doing. So instead of saying, okay, I'll take what you have and try to value it up and we'll make some kind of treaty, he said, how is your God gonna save you? You stripped your own temple just to give it to me. So it's like, man, I can't win for losing. Anyways, Hezekiah does seek help from the Lord. He goes and prays to the Lord. This is when we are introduced to the prophet Isaiah down in verse 20, 19 and 20. Prophet Isaiah comes in and he predicts Judah's deliverance. He tells the king, don't worry about it. We will have the victory. Matter of fact, it's not even that we are going to be victorious. God is going to take care of this for us completely. And I believe this is when, there we go. It's in chapter 19. In chapter 19, verse 35, that night, the angel of the Lord went out to the Assyrian camp and killed 185,000 Assyrian soldiers. So just like that, swoop, bam, they were out of there. Let's see. King Sennacherib did escape and he ran away. And when he made it home, his sons killed him. He had two sons, and they both turned on him and killed him. In chapter 20, Hezekiah fell sick, very, very, very sick. And initially, he was supposed to die. The prophet Isaiah came and said, yes, you will die from this. And Hezekiah turned to the Lord again for prayer, crying and with lots of emotion. And he's like, Lord, remember my faithfulness, remember my obedience, remember that I am I'm submissive to you, and I'm here to do your will, and I'm here for you. And please, Lord, don't let me die. Isaiah, who has already left, here's a message from the Lord, turns around. Hey, Hezekiah, I heard that you were praying. The Lord told me you were praying. He heard your prayers. He saw your tears. You will recover. You're going to be given an additional 15 years of life, and everything's going to be all right. So then there's envoys from Babylon, and an envoy is a General Motors product. It is a vehicle. It is a SUV, a sport utility vehicle. But an envoy is not what was in this Bible. An envoy was an actual kind of like a caravan. A caravan, which is like a bunch of people moving. I don't know another way to put that, but an envoy, a group of people with a bunch of stuff all moving together from point A to point B, an envoy. And these people are coming from Babylon. I don't know what they came for. I don't know if they were just passing through. I don't know if they came, for some political reasons, like, hey, let's talk about this, woo, 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 woo. But when the Babylonians got there, Hezekiah, for whatever reason, I don't know why, for whatever reason, Hezekiah said, welcome to my home. This is my kitchen. This is my living room. Hey, let me show you what's in my fridge. This is my pantry. This is what I got in my pantry. Here's my bedroom over here. Let me show you my bedroom. And see, this is my closet. Hey, look up under here in my pantry. Look up under my cabinets. This is where I keep my dishes. This is where I keep. Oh, these are my kids' rooms right here. Okay, what haven't I showed you yet? Oh yeah, let's go to my garage. See all my stuff in my garage? Like Hezekiah, for whatever reason, I don't know if he was trying to be hospitable. I don't know if he was showing off. I don't know if he just wasn't thinking in his right mind, but he showed the Babylonians all his business. All his business. Oh yeah, look up under my table. Like he showed everything. He showed stuff he shouldn't have been sharing. And so the Babylonians went home. Do, 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 do. And as they're leaving, Isaiah the prophet is like, who's that? Isaiah goes to talk to the king, and he's like, yo, King Hezekiah, who's that? Oh, those are some people from Babylon. What did they want? I don't know what they wanted. What did you show them? Oh, I showed them everything. Lord have mercy. King Hezekiah, the Lord has told me that everything that you have shown them will be taken away. They can't. You got Hezekiah. You got. You got. Or as what do we used to say back in Michigan? I think it was just you got. It was you got or you got something. Gangst. Got. Anyways, you got. They are going to take everything away, even your sons as eunuchs. And if you remember what eunuchs are, take a boy before he reaches puberty and before all that testosterone helps him to grow into a full man. Snip, snip, snip. Oh, wow, you can hit them high notes, can't you? Yes, I'm a eunuch. Let me stop. I'm a eunuch. I'm never going to have a full voice or anything else. And that's to stop them from, creating those sexual desires so that they can be trusted around the women folk to, they're still strong men, so they can protect these women folk, but they're not going to have those sexual desires, so they won't be fooling around and no hanky panky. So Hezekiah said, oh, that's not so bad. I'm like, what? This is all happening in chapter 20. I tell you guys, I get deep into this, don't I? I'm having much more fun than I thought I would. But that's what Hezekiah says. Like, well, I guess that's not so bad. But this is what happens in chapter 21. Manasseh ruled in Judah. He took over when he was 12. And let's see, Manasseh was not a good person. Now after his father, Hezekiah cleared out all these pagan idols, statues, Ashera poles, altars to these pagan gods. His son, Manasseh, built these things back up. And after Manasseh, there was Amon. And that brings us to today, right? 18, 20, 21. So there we go. That's the recap. That is the recap. So now, if you didn't know, now you know. Because if you don't know, now you know. Chapter 21. Let me scroll. See, I'm looking at the thing. It doesn't look like it needs to go any further. Okay. Good. Good. Man, I see people coming in and out. You guys don't know what you're missing. You guys don't know what you're missing. But you know what the good thing is? Even if you miss me now, you can always go to Boulevard 40 and watch the replay. You can listen to me while you're cleaning house. You can listen to me on your commute. You can listen to me while you're falling asleep. You can listen to me while you're waking up and getting ready for your day. You can listen to me anytime because that's the power and magic of making videos, as they are there for others to watch at a later time. So yeah. Chapter 22 starts right now. Josiah rules in Judah. Oh, I'm not gonna get off topic again. I'm trying not to, anyways. I found what is this name? Oh my goodness! While I was looking up Jezebel, I came up with some beautiful portraits, biblical portraits, beautiful, and I think it comes right on time. And I'm gonna see if I can leave a link here or over YouTube, but I'm gonna show. Oh, I hope I can find it. Oh, beautiful. I think it was called Bible Icons, Biblical Icons. James C. I don't remember the last name. James C. That's all I remember. Icons of the Bible. Beautiful. And I had never seen this person, but look. Hold on. Let me give you guys a who was I looking for? I was looking for Jezebel. It was funny, right? Because I'm looking up Jezebel for this video, and I was looking up imagery to put into the video. I got offended, right? I got offended. I was like, why Jezebel gotta be black? Follow me, follow me. I'm like, why Jezebel gotta be black? And as I looked, and it was a beautiful portrait. And then I went deeper and deeper, and there's an actual artist who is a photographer, and he is a multicultural, multi-ethnic. He's not. He uses multicultural, multi-ethnic, diverse people for his biblical portraits. I don't know if you've heard of this person or not before, but I'm going to show you really quick. And I was like, wow, just wow. I thought about this in my 20s. I thought to myself, wow, that would be awesome if they made a Bible movie, with not just the typical Caucasian featured people as the actors and actresses. That'd be cool if they had like actual people who probably more than likely look like these Middle Eastern people or probably African people or probably browner skinned people. I thought about this years ago, but I didn't know how to make that happen. And this person made it happen. Let me show you. So I'm just going to scroll through just a little bit because I know I'm off topic again. And most of these do have the characters' names. Let's see. Because I know it's blurry without me actually clicking on it. But we got what looks like it could be Jesus. We got Joseph and Mary. We got Jacob. Jacob in the colorful coat. The woman with the 12 years of bleeding who touched Jesus's robe. We got Daniel the prophet. See that picture of the lion in the background? Daniel who got thrown in the lion's den. We got Abraham. And we've got the Apostle James. Not sure who that one is. Elizabeth. Isaac. The Apostle John. And as you can see, there's so much beautiful diversity here, which is probably a little bit more reflective of what the characters that I talk about, the characters that I read about, Goliath, Rachel. There we go. That's Jezebel. I think that's the one that showed up. When I typed in Jezebel and I looked under the images, no, it wasn't her. Was it her? I think it was her. And I was like, why Jezebel gotta be black, huh? Why only the bad stuff for black people? And then like I said, I kept scrolling and I saw all this beautiful imagery. There's the Apostle Judas. Not sure who this is. Okay, Absalom. Absalom, Sarah, which was Abraham's wife. And I just think this is wonderful because, for too long, characters, actors in the Bible stories and Bible movies, it only shows, one particular ethnic group, representing all these different ethnicities in the Bible. And there was just so much more going on. There's Hannah, that's Samuel's mama. Remember Samuel the prophet? She couldn't have a baby, and she prayed and prayed and prayed, and then she dedicated her baby back. And baby Samuel grew up to be Samuel the prophet, who anointed Saul and David, and he was the last. He was also one of the last judges, I believe. So that's Sammy's mama. Just look at this. I'll leave the link if I can, because there's too many characters for me to go through, and I don't want to get too far off my Bible reading. But yeah, I just thought this was beautiful, just beautiful. There's Samson with the hair. Who's this? Ahas. I don't know. I can't see that one too far on there. Rebecca. But yeah, I love the colors. I'm not even talking about the people. I love the colors of the people too, but I love the colors and I love it just looks so authentic. The way that the characters and the people would have probably dressed at that time. There's Nathan, Joshua. Here's Elisha. Yeah, Elisha, we just talked about Elisha the prophet who saw Elijah get swooped up into heaven. And he said, give me a double portion of your spirit, of your essence before you go. Queen Vashti. I didn't know she was in the Bible. Angel Gabriel. Yeah. So yeah, you guys check this out in your own time. Remind me if I don't put the link. Remind me to put this on there. But this is beautiful. I've never seen this before, so I don't know how new it is. But it's funny that I should find it just as I'm, reading the Bible and trying to go in depth a little bit into some of the scripture. Let's see, who are we looking at today? Josiah. I wonder is Josiah on here? That'd be interesting. I mean, because if you think about it, whoever this person is really smart. I'm trying not to slip back into the entrepreneurship thinking, but business thinking, this is really smart because there are so many characters in the Bible. That's a ton of models that can be blessed with a job. And it's, whatever business that this is. I don't know if this is for calendars or for just art or for Bible study, but that is a lot of characters and a lot of people and a lot of things that you can cover for this photographer and whatever they're going to be doing with this. So many great ways that this can be distributed and used, not just spiritually, but financially. Trying to keep it real. What is his name? James Lewis. James C. Lewis. So I'm going to look up James C. Lewis. Josiah, because that's what we're about to read about right now in chapter 22. Let me see. I don't see anything popping up right now, so I'll let it go. Josiah. King Josiah. Maybe I should put King Josiah. Yeah, maybe he didn't get to that person yet, or maybe I'm just not seeing it. I see Micah, I see Ezekiel, King Herod, Jehoshaphat, Huldah, Jacob, Silas. Yeah. Okay. So anyhow, bringing you back. That's part of the reason I was up for 24 hours. Those are the rabbit holes that I go down when I'm doing stuff online. So I was looking up some Bible stuff for a different video. I came across that, and yeah. Chapter 22, keep those images in mind as you are listening to Josiah, who's ruling in Judah. Josiah was 8 years old. Wow. What was my son doing when he was 8? Cutting up. Josiah was 8 years old when he became king, and he reigned in Jerusalem 31 years. His mother was Jedediah, the daughter of Adiah from Bozkath. He did what was pleasing in the Lord's sight and followed the example of his ancestor David. He did not turn away from doing what was right. In the 18th year of his reign, King Josiah sent Shaphan, son of Azaliah and grandson of Meshullam, the court secretary, to the temple of the Lord. He told them, "Go to Hilkiah, the high priest, and have him count the money the gatekeepers have collected from the people at the Lord's temple. Entrust his money to the men assigned to supervise the temple's restoration. The temple of the Lord, restoration. Then they can use it to pay workers to repair the temple of the Lord. They will need to hire carpenters, builders, and masons. Also have them buy the timber and finished stone needed to repair the temple. But don't require the construction supervisors to keep account of the money they receive, for they are honest and trustworthy men." Didn't we have somebody else do the same thing? What was this, a couple days ago? Who else was that? Jehoiada. I remember which part of the page I was looking at. Chapter 12, just a couple of days ago. Not Jehoiada, Joash. Here's something interesting. This is very interesting. Look at this. I'm glad I looked back. Right now, we're talking about Josiah, who has been crowned king at the tender age of 8, and he wants these repairs to be made on the temple. Joash was the other king who made repairs on the temple. You know how old he was? 7. That's the other one. That's the one that got saved. Who was that? Athaliah? Athaliah came in and she was trying to kill everybody. She was trying to knock off all her family, like straight up soprano style. Athaliah was trying to kill all her family so she could take the throne and not be threatened by anybody trying to dethrone her. Baby Joash was rescued, was saved up until, saved as a baby. They hid him away. And then he was able to be crowned king at the age of 7. And in chapter 12, 2 Kings chapter 12, Joash repairs the temple. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that a coincidence? Joash, I say baby Joash, but he's a little boy. Joash began to rule over Judah in the 7th year of King Jehu's reign. He reigned in Jerusalem 40 years, almost the same time as this other guy. Almost. His mother was Zibiah from Beersheba. All his life, Joash did what was pleasing in the Lord's sight because Jehoiada the priest instructed him. One thing about him, he didn't destroy the pagan shrines, but in verse 4 it says, one day King Joash said to the priests, collect all the money brought as a sacred offering to the Lord's temple, whether it is regular assessment, a payment of vow, or voluntary gift. Let the priests take some of that money to pay for whatever repairs are needed at the temple. Fast forward to today, we're in chapter 23. Fast forward today, we're in chapter 22. 10 chapters later, Josiah was 8 years old when he became king, and he reigned in Jerusalem 31 years. He reigned 40 years. This guy's reigning 31 years. His mother was Jedediah, the daughter of Adiah from Bozkath. Let's see, in verse 3, in the 18th year of his reign, King Joash sent Shaphan, son of Azaliah and grandson of Meshullam, the court secretary, to the temple of the Lord. He said, go to Hilkiah the high priest and have him count the money the gatekeepers have collected from the people at the Lord's temple, and trust this money to the men assigned to supervise the temple's restoration. Repair, restoration. Joash, Josiah. Crowned at the age of 7, crowned at the age of 8. I just think that was an interesting coincidence. That's interesting to me. Let me move on. Let's see. They are honest and trustworthy men. That's the same thing Joash said about the construction workers. In verse 8, we got Hilkiah. Hilkiah discovered God's law. Let me get back to Facebook. So I got to make sure I look at this one often so that I don't miss anything. Okay. I'm not going to bring out any crickets, but you guys are getting too quiet. Verse 8, Hilkiah, the high priest, said to Shaphan, the court secretary, I have found the book of the law in the Lord's temple. Lost and found. Ding, 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 ding. That's our checkpoint for today. A book that has been lost and found. Checkpoint. Hilkiah, the high priest, said to Shaphan, the court secretary, I have found the book of the law in the Lord's temple. Then Hilkiah gave the scroll to Shaphan, and he read it. Shaphan went to the king and reported, your officials have turned over the money collected at the temple of the Lord to the workers and supervisors of the temple. Shaphan also told the king, Hilkiah the priest has given me a scroll. So Shaphan read it to the king. When the king heard what was written in the book of the law, he tore his clothes in despair. Then he gave these orders to Hilkiah the priest. Ahikam, son of Shaphan, Akbor, son of Micaiah, Shaphan, the court secretary, and Asaiah, the king's personal advisor. This is the message. Go to the temple and speak to the Lord for me and for the people and for all Judah. Inquire about the words written in the scroll that has been found. For the Lord's great anger is burning against us because our ancestors have not obeyed the words in this scroll. We've not been doing everything it says we must do. So Hilkiah the priest, Ahikam, Akbor, Shaphan, and Asaiah went to the new quarter of Jerusalem to consult with the prophet Huldah. I think I just seen her picture. on that the thing I gave you guys. She was the wife of Shallum, son of Tikvah, son of Haras, the keeper of the temple wardrobe. She said to them, the Lord, the God of Israel, has spoken. Go back and tell the man who sent you, this is what the Lord says, I am going to bring disaster on this city and its people. All the words written in the scroll that the king of Judah has read will come true. For my people have abandoned me and offered sacrifices to pagan gods, and I'm very angry with them for everything they have done. My anger will burn against this place, and it will not be quenched. But go to the Lord of Judah who sent you to seek the Lord and tell him, this is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says concerning the message you've just heard. You were sorry and humbled yourself before the Lord when you heard what I said against the city and its people, that this land would be cursed and become desolate. You tore your clothing in despair and wept before me in repentance. And I have indeed heard you, says the Lord. So I will not send the promised disaster until after you have died and been buried in peace. You will not see the disaster that I am going to bring on the city. And so they took her message back to the king. So is that a prophetess? Hold on. Hilkiah the priest, Ahikam, Akbor, Shaphan, Josiah. Oh, they don't call it prophetess. So Huldah, Huldah, Huldah is a woman, and she is a prophet. And I think I did see her picture on here. Right here at the top. Right here at the top where I left off. Hold on, real quick. This is the lady who was just speaking. Huldah, the prophet. So you have to read carefully when you're reading the Bible because it is pretty man-centric. I don't want to say that the wrong way. I hope I'm not offending anybody. But most of these prophets are men. Most of the rulers are men. Most of the people being talked about are men. So you don't want to assume every time you're reading that it's a man being talked about. You really do want to pay attention and make sure that you're reading the proper pronoun and gender. So Huldah is the prophet that has just, spoke about what was being found. And this is Huldah right here. I'm reading back again, chapter 22 and verse 14. And this is right after the scroll has been found. I don't know if it rolled up under something, fell behind something, got covered up, something got laid on top of it. But this scroll that they're talking about, that was the law. That was, what do you call it? The book of the law is what all the kings were supposed to be reading. Remember? Was it Saul? Saul was the first one that read it, and then David, and they're supposed to read it. Every time you take over as king, you're supposed to read this book so you can see how to properly rule, and rule with not just good leadership, but rule as you're submitting to God, you're following God, and therefore you're going to help the people submit to God and help the people follow God. And that's why they were supposed to read this book of the law. And I don't know at what point it got lost, but I think this is probably the reason why so many people went astray, is because they were not following this law. If you have something contrary or in addition or some further insight into that and want to talk about that, let me know in the chat. Let me know in the comment section after the fact, because the more we discuss it, the more we learn about it and the more we grow. So yeah, this is Huldah right here. Huldah is the wife of Shallum. We talked about Shallum yesterday, who was the son of Tikva, son of Harhas, the keeper of the temple wardrobe. Now this is what she said in verse 15. The Lord, the God of Israel, has spoken. Go back and tell the man who sent you. This is what the Lord says. I am going to bring disaster on this city and its people. All the words written in the scroll that the king of Judah has read will come true. For my people have abandoned me and offered sacrifices to pagan gods, and I am very angry with them for everything they have done. My anger will burn against this place, and it will not be quenched. But go to the king of Judah who sent you to seek the Lord and tell him, this is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says concerning the message you have just heard. You were sorry and humbled yourself before the Lord when you heard what I said against the city and its people, that the land would be cursed and become desolate. You tore your clothing in despair and wept before me in repentance. And I have indeed heard you, says the Lord. So I will not send the promised disaster until after you have died and been buried in peace. You will not see the disaster I am going to bring on this city. And so they took her message back to the king. Wow. I think there was another woman prophet that we covered either a couple of days ago or maybe last week. That's cool, isn't that? I'm so glad that I found that. It's eye candy when you see the way that they're dressed and the way that the photographs were taken, because those are photographs, not, first I thought it was a painting. It's a treat for the eyes. It's so wonderful. All right, this is verse 23, going on to verse 23, talking about Josiah's religious reforms. Then the king summoned all the elders of Judah and Jerusalem, and the king went up to the temple of the Lord with all the people of Judah and Jerusalem, along with the priests and the prophets, all the people from the least to the greatest. There the king read to them the entire book of the covenant. See, now this is leadership. This is leadership in action right here, y'all. Leadership principles from the Bible 101. The king, once he found what was supposed to be done, he didn't just do it. He told everybody, hey, y'all, this is what we're supposed to be doing. Hey, everybody, this is what it is. This is why it is. This is who said it. And this is what we're going to be doing. From this point on, this is how we're going forward. That's leadership right there. This is chapter 23, verse 2. I'm in the middle of verse 2, actually. There the king read to them the entire book of the covenant that had been found in the Lord's temple. The king took his place of authority beside the pillar and renewed the covenant in the Lord's presence. He pledged to obey the Lord by keeping all his commands, laws, and decrees with all his heart and soul. In this way, he confirmed all the terms of the covenant that were written in the scroll, and all the people pledged themselves to the covenant. See that? He pledged himself, the people follow him, so they pledge themselves. Verse 4, then the king instructed Hilkiah, the high priest, and the priests of the second rank, and the temple gatekeepers to remove from the Lord's temple all the articles that were used to worship Baal, Ashera, and all the powers of the heavens. The king had all these things burned outside Jerusalem on the terraces of the Kidron Valley, and he carried the ashes away to Bethel. He did away with the idolatrous priests who had been appointed by the previous kings of Judah, for they had offered sacrifices at the pagan shrines throughout Judah and even in the vicinity of Jerusalem. They had also offered sacrifices to Baal and to the sun, the moon, the constellations, and to all the powers of the heavens. The king removed the Ashera pole from the Lord's temple and took it outside Jerusalem to the Kidron Valley, where he burned it. Then he ground the ashes of the pole to dust and threw the dust over the graves of the people. He also tore down the living quarters of the male and female shrine prostitutes that were inside the temple of the Lord, where the women wove coverings for the Ashera pole. Wove like weave, weaving fabric, weaving blankets, weaving cloth, weave. Josiah, in verse 8, Josiah brought to Jerusalem all the priests who were living in other towns of Judah. Josiah brought to Jerusalem all the priests who were living in the other towns of Judah. He also defiled the pagan shrines where they had offered sacrifices, all the way from Geba to Beersheba. He destroyed the shrines at the entrance to the gate of Joshua, the governor of Jerusalem. This gate was located to the left of the city gate as one enters the city. The priests who had served at the pagan shrines were not allowed to serve at the Lord's altar in Jerusalem, but they were allowed to eat unleavened bread with the other priests. Verse 10, then the king defiled the altar of Topheth in the valley of Ben Hinnom, so no one could ever use it to sacrifice a son or daughter in the fire as an offering to Molech. I told you guys, every time I kept seeing fire, go through the fire, I said, they got to be talking about Molech. Verse 11, he removed from the entrance of the Lord's temple the horse statues that the former kings of Judah had dedicated to the sun. They were near the quarters of Nathan Melech, the eunuch, an officer of the court. The king also burned the chariots dedicated to the sun. Josiah tore down the altars that the kings of Judah had built on the palace roof of the upper room of Ahaz. The king destroyed the altars that Manasseh had built in the two courtyards of the Lord's temple. He smashed them to bits and scattered the pieces in the Kidron Valley. The king also desecrated the pagan shrines east of Jerusalem, to the south of the Mount of Corruption, where King Solomon of Israel had built shrines for Ashtoreth, the detestable goddess of the Sidonians, and for Chemosh, the detestable god of the Moabites, and for Molech. the vile gods, god of the Ammonites. He smashed the sacred pillars and cut down the Ashera poles. Then he desecrated these places by scattering human bones over them. Verse 15, the king also tore down the altar at Bethel, the pagan shrine that Jeroboam, son of Nebat, had made when he caused Israel to sin. And this is the same one. And all this week I keep referring back to this person right here. Like they did good in the Lord's eyes, but they didn't do away with the things that Nebat had caused the people to sin. This is the one right here. Verse 15, the king also tore down the altar at Bethel, the pagan shrine that Jeroboam, son of Nebat, had made when he caused Israel to sin. He burned down the shrine and ground it to dust, and he burned the Asherah pole. Then Josiah turned around and noticed several tombs in the side of the hill. He ordered that the bones be brought out, and he burned them on the altar at Bethel to desecrate it. This happened just as the Lord had promised through the man of God when Jeroboam stood beside the altar at the festival. Then Josiah turned and looked up at the tomb of the man of God who had predicted these things. "What is that monument over there?" Josiah asked, and the people of the town had told him, "It is the tomb of the man of God who came from Judah and predicted the very things that you have just done to the altar at Bethel." Josiah replied, "Leave it alone. Don't disturb his bones." So they did not burn his bones of those of the prophet from Samaria. Then Josiah demolished all the buildings at the pagan shrines in the towns of Samaria, just as he had done at Bethel. They had been built by the various kings of Israel and had made the Lord very angry. He executed the priests of the pagan shrines on their own altars, and he burned human bones on the altars to desecrate them. Finally, he returned to Jerusalem. Verse 21, Josiah celebrates the Passover. Check in with you guys. Make sure I'm not missing anything. See, now the days when I don't look at the chat, it's quiet. And the days when I looked, that's when I missed it. All right, that's cool. All right, verse 21. King Josiah then issued this order to all the people: "You must celebrate the Passover to the Lord your God as required in this book of the covenant." There had not been a Passover celebration like that since the time when the judges ruled in Israel, nor throughout all the years of the kings of Israel and Judah. This Passover was celebrated to the Lord in Jerusalem in the 18th year of King Josiah's reign. All this time they haven't been having Passover? And you guys remember, what's Passover? Passover is a representative of how while they were in Egypt and all these plagues were going on, they were instructed to take some blood, sacrificial blood, mark the top of their doorpost, so that when the angel of the Lord came through the city or came through Egypt, they would see this blood and would not kill the firstborn in that house. But of all those households that did not have that mark of blood over the doorpost, the firstborn would be killed. So that Passover is to remember the Lord saved us. The Lord saved us. We're celebrating. We're remembering. We're honoring that the Lord took us out and saved us and delivered us from Egypt. What are you doing, cat? And this is why I don't do my readings out here, because cats make tons of noise. Yeah, we're supposed to be celebrating Passover. Verse 22 says, "There had not been a Passover celebration like that since the time when the judges ruled in Israel, nor throughout all the years of the kings of Israel and Judah. This Passover was celebrated to the Lord in Jerusalem in the 18th year of King Josiah's reign." Josiah also got rid of the mediums. Oh, I see your great granddaddy, and he's trying to tell me that. Yeah, he got rid of all them people. Let's see. He got rid of all the mediums and psychics, the household gods, the idols, and every other kind of detestable practice, both in Jerusalem and throughout the land of Judah. He did this in obedience to the laws written in the scroll that Hilkiah, the priest, had found in the Lord's temple. Oh, come on now. and throughout the land of Judah. He did this in obedience to the laws written in the scroll that Hilkiah the priest had found in the Lord's temple. Never before had there been a king like Josiah, who turned to the Lord with all his heart and soul and strength, obeying all the laws of Moses, and there has never been a king like him since. I'm surprised that Josiah is not a more popular name, because I know that there's a lot of names that are from the Bible, whether people are spiritual or religious or not, but there's lots of names from the Bible, and some of these names that I'm coming across that I'm learning for the first time, I'm like, wow, that person did like a really good thing. Why aren't there more Hezekiahs? Oh, wow, that person was awesome. Why aren't there more Josiahs? Oh, wow, she's the person who did this. How come there aren't more whatever this name is? Like, why are, James, John, Jacob, um, Zachariah, all these different names, why are they more popular than other ones? Just curious. Verse 26 says, even so, the Lord was very angry with Judah, you know, Judah as a whole, because of all the wicked things Manasseh had done to provoke him. For the Lord said, I will banish Judah from my presence, just as I have banished Israel, and I will reject my chosen city of Jerusalem and the temple where my name was to be honored. The rest of the events in Josiah's reign and all his deeds are recorded in the book of the history of the kings of Judah. While Josiah was king, Pharaoh Necho, king of Egypt, went to the Euphrates River to help the king of Assyria. King Josiah and his army marched out to fight him, but King Necho killed him whenever they met at Megiddo. Josiah's offers took his body back in a chariot from Megiddo to Jerusalem and buried him in his own tomb. Then the people of the land anointed Josiah's son, Jehoahaz, and made him the next king. So that's how Josiah ended up dying. He did lots of great things, but in the end, he was killed by King Necho of Egypt. Jehoaz, you know what? It's dictionary time. When I start stumbling and fumbling, it's dictionary time. Let's see how to read this name, Jehoaz. See, since I speak Spanish, and Spanish pretty much has Spanish uses vowels, A-E-I-O-U. Spanish uses vowels in a way that most of the world does. Not English. English-based English does not use vowels the same in different situations, right? English uses vowels like there's a long A and a short A, and there's a long E and a short E, and all these different whatever. But Spanish is I-A-E-O-U. That's it. I-A-E-O-U. Whatever you read, it's going to be read the same way with those vowels. And there's tons of other languages that are the same way. So when I read these biblical names, I'm trying to use my Spanish skills. I-A-E-O-U. I-A-E-O-U. And I'm trying to pronounce it like that, which is getting me. That's pretty much how I'm finding success. Wow, look at that. That's crazy. How many times did I flip through this page? I'm gonna have to do the replay. How many times did I flip through this dictionary? Because I feel like my thumb went straight through it. Like I don't even have to turn the page. That's crazy. I'm right on the page I need to be. I'm gonna have to go back and look at the rewind, but I'm like right where I need to be. But yeah, I try to pronounce these biblical names as if they were Spanish names. So I-A-E-O-U. I'm looking at Jason, even though I know it's Jason. I'm looking at Jazer, even though it says here Jazer. And sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm wrong. But let's see how to pronounce this guy's name. That's crazy. I went straight through it. Look at that. Okay, let me stop. Jehoahaz. Okay, I'm right. Jehoahaz. And the name means the Lord sustains. The Lord sustains. Let's see what Josiah's name means, since we just read about him. It must be time for me to shop for cat food again because they're knocking over their containers and they're revolting. The cats are revolting. Here we go, Josiah. Okay, I said his name properly. Josiah. Josiah. It doesn't say that his name has any meaning, but Jehoahaz, since I'm here, I'm going to read about the Lord sustains. It looks like there are two headings for Jehoahaz before I go into finish up chapter 22 and verse 31. It says here, the son and successor of Jehu and the 12th king of Israel. His 17-year reign was a disaster for the nation of Israel by not renouncing the idolatry of the golden calves set up by Jeroboam the first at Dan and Bethel. Jehoahaz did evil in the sight of the Lord. Hazael of Syria and his son Ben-Hadad severely punished Israel during Jehoahaz's reign. This drove Jehoahaz to the Lord, who heard his prayer and granted temporary deliverance from Syria. Unfortunately, after the danger passed, Jehoahaz quickly abandoned his faith, and after his death, Jehoahaz was succeeded by his son Joash. Now, this is a different one. There's two different ones. That's why there's two different headings. Jehoahaz, the name, the meaning is the same. The Lord sustains. This one is the youngest son of Jehoram. Who is Jehoram? Am I reading this right? Who is Jehoram? How come they didn't say Josiah? Is this a different person? Let me make sure. Josiah's officers took his body back in a chariot. Then the people of the land anointed Josiah's son Jehoahaz and made him the next king. So there must be more than two. We got Jehoahaz, son of Jehu. We got Jehoahaz, youngest son of Jehoram. Also, an inscription of the Assyrian king Tiglath-Pileser III refers to Ahaz, king of Judah, as Jehoahaz. This was evidently his full name, but the Bible always uses the abbreviated name. Well, there's not another one. I wonder. Look up Josiah again real quick. See, you guys, this is not a straight Bible reading. It's a Bible reading and a Bible study because I want to know. I want to understand. I don't want to just read so I can say, oh, I read it. Okay, I did my thing. Like, I want to read it so I can understand it. Because if it was all about reading, man, this Bible reading would be done in about 15 minutes because then I wouldn't be giving commentary. I wouldn't be thinking out loud. I wouldn't be asking you guys questions. Okay, I'm not going to read this entire heading on Josiah, but I do want to see what's going on. Okay, Josiah, the 16th king of Judah. Reform. Age of 20. Cleansed Jerusalem. Personally supervised destruction. At the age of 23, he ordered the temple to be repaired. He returned to Jerusalem, where he died after reigning 31 years. His death was followed by widespread lamentation. In the New Testament, Josiah is referred to as Josias. It doesn't say anything about his son. Well, mystery upon mysteries. If you guys know and can add something to what's going on right now, me trying to figure out who this Jehoahaz is and why he's not mentioned in this Bible dictionary, let me know. I'm in chapter 23 of 2 Kings. King Josiah was cleansed. King Josiah has just cleaned house, cleaned the temple, cleaned out all the shrines, cleaned out all the temples, cleaned out all the altars and all the pagan and idolatry. He has been killed. His son Jehoahaz is taking over in Judah. I was trying to find some more information on him, but I couldn't. But if you know more about Jehoahaz, son of Josiah, let me know. In verse 31, Jehoahaz was 23 years old when he became king, and he reigned in Jerusalem 3 months. Well, maybe that's why he's not in there. His mother was Hamutal, the daughter of Jeremiah from Libnah. He did what was evil in the Lord's sight, just as his ancestors had done. Pharaoh Necho, put Jehoahaz in prison at Riblah in the land of Hamath to prevent him from ruling in Jerusalem. He also demanded that Judah pay 7,500 pounds of silver and 75 pounds of gold as tribute. Well, dang. I guess that's why he's not in there, because he was on the throne for 3 months. Huh. Jehoiakim. Jehoiakim is next. How do you go from being the son of somebody who, you know what, this is the exact same thing that just happened. Hezekiah did what was pleasing in the Lord's sight. Hezekiah cleared house. Hezekiah got rid of as much of the idolatries as he could, but then his son came and did the opposite. Manasseh did the opposite. Josiah did what was pleasing in the Lord, helped Israel get back on track, read the book of the law to the people, but then his son, Jehoahaz, did the opposite. What gives? Verse 34. So Jehoahaz has now been put into prison under Pharaoh Necho. And in 34, it says, Pharaoh Necho then installed Eliakim, another of Josiah's sons, to reign in place of his father. And he changed Eliakim's name to Jehoiakim. Okay, let me catch up. Josiah, good. Had a couple sons. One son was Jehoahaz, did bad. He got put into prison. Pharaoh put him in prison, okay. And then Josiah had another son named Eliakim. The Pharaoh changed his name from Eliakim to Jehoiakim and was installed to take over his daddy's place, all right. Eliakim's name to Jehoiakim. Jehoahaz was taken to Egypt as prisoner, where he died. In order to get the silver and gold demanded as tribute by Pharaoh Necho, Jehoiakim collected a tax from the people of Judah, requiring them to pay in proportion to their wealth. Jehoiakim was 25 years old when he became king, and he reigned in Jerusalem 11 years. His mother was Zebidah, the daughter of Pedaiah from Rumah. He did what was evil in the Lord's sight, just as his ancestors had done. Curious. What power, influence, and ties does Pharaoh have? Why is his hands in the ruling of Judah? How is he able to install somebody to rule? Like, what is this connection? What is this relationship? Interesting. Pharaoh put Jehoahaz in prison. Pharaoh installed Eliakim, changed his name to Jehoiakim, and then, of course, demanded this tribute money. He was 25 years old when he became king. He reigned in Jerusalem 11 years. He did what was evil in the Lord's sight. That is chapter 23. Let me check in and make sure I'm not missing anything. All right. And finally, this is the final chapter of... No, it's not. This is the second to last chapter. This is chapter 24 of 2 Kings. During Jehoiakim's reign, King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon invaded the land of Judah. Jehoiakim surrendered and paid him tribute for 3 years, but then rebelled. Then the Lord sent bands of Babylonian, Aramean, Moabite, and Ammonite raiders against Judah to destroy it. Just as the Lord had promised through his prophets, these disasters happened to Judah because of the Lord's command. He had decided to banish Judah from his presence because of the many sins of Manasseh, who had filled Jerusalem with innocent blood. The Lord would not forgive this. The rest of the events in Jehoiakim's reign and all his deeds are recorded in the book of the history of the kings of Judah. When Jehoiakim, who used to be Eliakim, died, his son Jehoiakim became the next king, or Jehoiachin. I'm going to call him Jehoiachin because the last part of his name looks like chin. Kim as in Kimberly, and chin as in chin. So Jehoiachin became the next king. The king of Egypt did not venture out of his country after that, for the king of Babylon captured the entire area formerly claimed by Egypt, from the brook of Egypt to the Euphrates River. So I think this is that prophecy also that for their disobedience, different nations are going to come in and take over the nation of Israel, which is pretty much what's happening. Egypt and who's this? Babylon. Jehoiachin rules in Judah. This is verse 8. Jehoiachin was 18 years old when he became king, and he reigned in Jerusalem 3 months. His mother was Nehushta, the daughter of Elnathan from Jerusalem. Jehoiachin did what was evil in the Lord's sight, just as his father had done. During Jehoiachin's reign, the officers of King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon came up against Jerusalem and besieged it. Nebuchadnezzar himself arrived at the city during the siege. Then King Jehoiakim, along with the queen mother, his advisors, his commanders, and his officials, surrendered to the Babylonians. In the 8th year of Nebuchadnezzar's reign, he took Jehoiachin prisoner. As the Lord had said beforehand, Nebuchadnezzar carried away all the treasures from the Lord's temple and the royal palace. He stripped away all the gold objects that King Solomon of Israel had placed in the temple. King Nebuchadnezzar took all of Jerusalem captive, including all the commanders and the best of the soldiers, craftsmen, and artisans, 10,000 in all. Only the poorest people were left in the land. Nebuchadnezzar led King Jehoiachin away as a captive to Babylon, along with the queen mother, his wives and officials, and all Jerusalem's elite. He also exiled 7,000 of the best troops and 1,000 craftsmen and artisans, all of whom were strong and fit for war. Then the king of Babylon installed Mattaniah, Jehoiakim's uncle, as the next king, and he changed Mattaniah's name to Zedekiah. Verse 18 is Zedekiah's rule in Judah. Zedekiah was 21 years old when he became king, and he reigned in Jerusalem 11 years. His mother was Hamutal, the daughter of Jeremiah from Libnah. But Zedekiah did what was evil in the Lord's sight, just as Jehoiakim did. These things happened because of the Lord's anger against the people of Jerusalem and Judah, until he finally banished them from his presence and sent them into exile. And the fall of Jerusalem is the next heading. Zedekiah rebelled against the king of Babylon. I'm thinking out loud here. What do you call that? What do you call that politically when you're in charge of your people, but not really, because somebody else from another place has put you in charge of your own people? Like, what do you call that politically? If you guys know what that is, what that terminology means, let me know in the comments. The more that I'm reading, I'm starting to understand. We have Egypt, who has their hands in it, and they're putting people in positions of power, not to be nice, not to help them out. It's because I'm ruling through you. This is me. This is you. I'm ruling through you. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you what to do with your people. I'm over here ruling my people, but I'm kind of ruling your people too through you. Is that called a puppet? Like, I've heard that terminology before. Like, oh, President such and such is just a puppet, or Prime Minister such and such is just a puppet. And I feel like that's what's going on here. We've got Nico, who was puppeting Jehoahaz. No, he took Jehoahaz, threw him in prison, and then took Jehoiakim and put him in power. King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon came in. Now he's in power, but he's installing, what's his name? There's so many different names, I know. Jehoiachin and Zedekiah. Zedekiah, who, no, somebody's name began with the letter M, and they got their name changed. In either case, I'm getting all these names mixed up now. But here we go. Mattaniah was right at the end. Mattaniah was Jehoiakim's uncle, and this Babylonian Nebuchadnezzar guy changed his name, put him in a position of power, but of course, he's pretty much puppeting this person. So what is that? Let me finish this up with chapter 25 and we'll discuss the political intricacies after the fact. Chapter 25, it says, so on January 15th, well, dang, that's pretty specific. That is pretty specific. Okay, that just threw me for a loop. So on January 15th, during the 9th year of Zedekiah's reign, King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon led his entire army against Jerusalem. They surrounded the city and built siege ramps against its walls. Oh, that's something else I was going to say yesterday. I'm going to draw a picture for myself because I don't want to get off track. But, okay, because I wanted to say something yesterday, but I forgot. I got off track. I'm gonna finish reading. January 15, during the 9th year of Zedekiah's reign, King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon led his entire army against Jerusalem. They surrounded the city and built siege ramps against its walls. Jerusalem was kept under siege until the 11th year of King Zedekiah's reign. By July 18th, in the 11th year of Zedekiah's reign, the famine in the city had become very severe and the last of the food was entirely gone. Then a section of the city wall was broken down, and all the soldiers fled. Since the city was surrounded by the Babylonians, they waited for nightfall. Then they slipped through the gate between the two walls behind the king's garden and headed toward the Jordan Valley. But the Babylonian troops chased the king and caught him on the plains of Jericho, for his men had all deserted him and scattered. They took him to the king of Babylon at Riblah, where they pronounced judgment upon Zedekiah. They made Zedekiah watch as they slaughtered his sons. Then they gouged out Zedekiah's eyes, bound him in bronze chains, and led him away to Babylon. Let's see. In verse 8, the temple is destroyed. On August 14th of that year, which was the 19th year of King Nebuchadnezzar's reign, Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard and an official of the Babylonian king, arrived in Jerusalem. He burned down the temple of the Lord, the royal palace, and all the houses of Jerusalem. He destroyed all the important buildings in the city. Excuse me. Then he supervised the entire Babylonian army as they tore down the walls of Jerusalem on every side. Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, then took as exiles the rest of the people who remained in the city, the defectors who had declared their allegiance to the king of Babylon, and the rest of the population. But the captain of the guard allowed some of the poorest people to stay behind in Judah to care for the vineyards and the fields. The Babylonians broke up the bronze pillars in the front of the Lord's temple, the bronze water carts, and the great bronze basin called the sea, and they carried all the bronze away to Babylon. They also took all the ash buckets, shovels, lamp snuffer dishes, and all the other bronze articles used for making sacrifices at the temple. Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, also took the incense burners and the basins and all the other articles made of pure gold or silver. The weight of the bronze from the two pillars, the sea, and the water carts was too great to be measured. These things had been made for the Lord's temple in the days of King Solomon. Each of the pillars was 27 feet tall. The bronze capital on top of each pillar was 7.5 feet high and was decorated with a network of bronze pomegranates all the way around. Yeah, I remember I went into detail about that. I was like, what? I didn't realize what those things were called, the capitals at the top of these columns. Verse 18 says, Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, took with him as prisoners Seraiah, the high priest, Zephaniah, the priest of the second rank, and the 3 chief gatekeepers. And from among the people still hiding in the city, he took an officer who had been in charge of the Judean army, 5 of the king's personal advisors, the army commander's chief secretary, who was in charge of recruitment, and 60 other citizens. Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, took them all to the king of Babylon at Riblah. And there at Riblah in the land of Hamath, the king of Babylon had them all put to death. So the people of Judah were sent into exile from their land. In verse 22, it talks about Gedaliah. governs in Judah. Then Nebuchadnezzar appointed Gedaliah, son of Ahikam and grandson of Shaphan, as governor over the people he had left in Judah. So he exiled all these people, took all these people away from their land, but from the few people, I guess the ones that were left behind to tend the vineyards, because we don't want that to go to waste. We want you to work on this. We'll come back and harvest it later. But he installed a governor, a supervisor basically for these people, and that person was Gedaliah. When all the army commanders and their men learned that the king of Babylon had appointed Gedaliah as governor, they went to see him at Mizpah. These included Ishmael, son of Nethaniah, Johanan, son of Kareah, Sariah, son of Tanhumeth, the Netophathite, and Jezaniah, son of Maakathite, and all their men. Gedaliah vowed to them that the Babylonian officers meant them no harm. Don't be afraid of them. Live in the land and serve the king of Babylon, and all will go well for you, he promised. But in mid-autumn of that year, Ishmael, son of Nethaniah and grandson of Elishama, who was of the royal family, went to Mizpah with 10 men and killed Gedaliah. He also killed all the Judeans and Babylonians who were with Gedaliah at Mizpah. Then all the people of Judah, from the least to the greatest, as well as the army commanders, fled in panic to Egypt, for they were afraid of what the Babylonians would do to them. And here we go. This is hope. Hope for Israel's royal line, because at this point, it is all falling apart. In the 37th year of exile of King Jehoiakim of Judah, evil Merodach, is that really their name? Their name is evil. Avil Merodach. Wow. I'm just in shock. Okay. In the 37th year of exile of King Jehoiakim of Judah, evil Merodach ascended to the Babylonian throne. He was kind to Jehoiakim and released him from prison on April 2nd of that year. He spoke kindly to Jehoiakim and gave him a higher place than all the other exiled kings in Babylon. He supplied Jehoiakim with new clothes to replace his prison garb and allowed him to dine in the king's presence for the rest of his life. So the Babylonian king gave him a regular food allowance as long as he lived. I gotta look this name up. The name is evil, but maybe it's pronounced differently. If you want to go on by, go on by. Okay, that's the name. I'm showing you because I was confused. And this is from the Bible Dictionary. Evil Merodach. Let's make sure you guys can see that. Oh, that light is terrible. There we go. Evil Merodach. That is the name. Merodach. King of the Neo-Babylonian Empire and son of Nebuchadnezzar II. When evil Merodach, also known as Awil Marduk, became the king, he released King Jehoiakim of Judah, whom Nebuchadnezzar had kept in prison for 37 years. Evil Merodach's brother-in-law, Nergal-Shar-Usur, or Neriglissar, formed a conspiracy against him and put him to death. Neriglissar then became king. But yeah, that is that person's actual name. Evil Merodach. Evil Merodach. And of course, I'm speaking in English. Evil has a different connotation. Evil has its own definition and meaning, but these are biblical names from different languages, and so the pronunciation and meaning is completely different. And as you can see, the meaning actually says man of God, man of the God. Man of the god Marduk. So Marduk is whatever god that they serve, and man of Marduk is how you say it, evil Marduk, evil Merodach. Just thought I'd share that with you guys because as I'm reading it in the Bible, I'm like, but this person is good. But I mean, it's as good as it can get because Babylon has taken over. Judah and Israel are no more. So I mean, it's as good as it's gonna get, but it's not good. And that's what's going on. That was the final portion. In the 37th year of the exile of King Jehoiakim of Judah, evil Merodach ascended to the Babylonian throne. He was kind to Jehoiakim and released him from prison on April 2nd of that year. He spoke kindly to Jehoiakim and gave him a higher place than all the other exiled kings in Babylon. He supplied Jehoiakim with new clothes to replace his prison garb and allowed him to dine in the king's presence for the rest of his life. So the Babylonian king gave him regular food allowance as long as he lived. But pretty much, I mean, that's a nice gesture. But Judah's done. Judah's done for. And ladies and gentlemen, that has been the reading for today. That was 2 Kings 22, 23, 24, and 25. That is the final reading for this week, which is week 25. All the way live. It's week 25 of reading the Bible every day, front to back. Live of reading the Bible. Yeah. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think about the reading. What is your favorite part? Let me know in the comments, either at Facebook or at YouTube, where the upload of this will be found at Boulevard 40. That is Boulevard 40. Let's see. In case you don't know, now you will know. Do you need your appliances repaired? I just grabbed the first thing. Find me at Boulevard 40. I know I could have done a screen share just as easily. I know. Find me at Boulevard 40 where you can leave your comments, you can leave your questions, you can leave your insights, you can leave me resources that you think would be helpful to better understand some of the scripture that's going on. And yeah, let's learn together. I am not a teacher. No. I'm not teaching you. I am merely taking you along for the ride as I'm reading through the Bible this year, the year 2020. I'm reading the entire Bible with the help of my guide, my handy dandy guide. Let me show you. This is what I use. I showed you guys before, actually, but I'm showing you again. This is the breakdown. This is what it looks like as you go through. And it will have like a paragraph to explain, okay, this week you're going to read about this in this book. And it gives you like a little bit of history behind what was going on at that time culturally and then with the people. See, it'll be like that. It'll say week whatever. Like, for example, next week, week 26. Let's take a sneak peek. I won't read through it, but I'll give you guys a sneak peek. It will say week 26, peace and praise. So that's going to be the theme for next week, peace and praise. There will be a paragraph here telling you what's about to happen. Then there will be a gold box, and in that gold box, it will show you what to read. Read this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then on the other side of that gold box will say checkpoints. These are the different points that you're going to be reading. There will be a little quote underneath from some famous person. I don't really know who any of these people are. It'll be some famous person with a quote about the Bible, and then there's a little some space here so that if you are using this for a Bible study or a group study, it will ask you like something that you learned or gain insight. How did you experience God's heart in this week's reading? Put down a verse or a passage that you remember and write down some questions that you may have. And of course, you can't write it in a Kindle, but if you got the physical book, you can do that. And that's how that goes there. Yep. So yeah, James C. Lewis is the artist slash photographer that is in charge of this wonderful piece of art here. There we go. James C. Lewis, Icons of the Bible. If I can, now that I know about it, I mean, I'm halfway through the Bible now. Tomorrow is the halfway point. Actually, tomorrow we are in week 26. There's 26. There's 52 weeks in the year, and the halfway point is 26. So tomorrow I'm halfway reading the Bible, halfway done reading the Bible. And maybe I can try to incorporate some of this beautiful artwork into the readings, which I'm so glad that I just discovered. It's like, wow, this is so cool. If you guys get a chance to check it out, let me know what your favorite photography is of this, which character, or if you have another resource that shows Bible characters, let me know about that. Was that Mary Magdalene? I mean, wow, this is just wow. Pharaoh Akhenaten. I don't know which ruler that one was. Cool, very, very cool. Naomi. Naomi is the one that led Ruth to her husband Boaz. We read about Ruth already. Who's this? I like that color scheme. Simon Peter. King Solomon, the wisest king. Cain and Abel, the brothers. Abigail, I feel like I've read her, but I can't remember. Deborah. Jacob. Jacob is the one whose name was turned to Israel, right? Jacob. Name was turned to Israel. Then there's the nation of Israel after him. Elijah. Elijah got swooped up. Woo! We just read about him. Elijah got swooped up. Them chariots of fire came down. He did not die. He went straight into heaven. Isaac, the one who Abraham thought he was going to have to sacrifice his child, but he did not. Not sure who this one would be, but yeah, you guys check this out. Let me know. Ooh, there's Bathsheba. Bathsheba trying to take her bath, in the privacy of her own, wherever she was at. And King David, he allowed himself to be taken into temptation. He didn't look away. He could have looked away. He could have went and did something else, played a game of solitaire. I don't know, something. He could have distracted himself, but he watched her, allowed himself to be taken in by her beauty, followed his lust, followed his temptation, and sinned with her, got her pregnant, killed her husband. It created a lot of issues. Samuel, wow, awesome, awesome, awesome. This is so cool. As a woman of color, as an African American woman, it does definitely make me feel some kind of way, a certain kind of joy to see people that look like me. And as I'm reading through the Bible and trying to get some spiritual insight and trying to get some connection, it does make me feel happy to see, people representing these real life people in the Bible. Real life people in the Bible who more than likely did look like this. Dark skinned people. Who's that? Nebuchadnezzar? Dark skinned people, ethnic looking people, diverse people. And yeah. Quick pray on the way out. Oops, where am I at? There we go. So quick prayer on the way out as I say thank you to everybody who has been with me today. Well, this is one of my longer ones. We are closing in on 2 hours, but hopefully you guys found it not only entertaining, but educational, informational, insightful, and helpful in some way. That is my prayer for you guys, that you found it helpful in some way. But Lord, I come to you in prayer, and I pray for a blessing for all who hear the message today. I thank you for today. I pray that people learn from the readings, and that by these readings they're inspired to read the Bible on their own, come to their own understanding from what they read, build up their faith through you as they understand you, build their own relationship with you, and find purpose through you as they are reading the Bible. That's my prayer, Lord. Amen. Amen. Thank you guys for joining me. Happy Father's Day. Happy first day of summer. Happy longest day of the year. It's really strange because here in Fort Worth, Texas, I've been looking at a dark sky this whole time, a very scary looking dark sky. So even though it's the longest day of the year, which it's supposed to be, the most sunshine ever on June 21st, I don't think we're going to get any sun today. But I hope it's sunny and bright wherever you are. And I pray that you are blessed. Be a blessing to others. I'll see you guys tomorrow, 7 a.m. If you have not already, please consider supporting me on Twitter by retweeting my plea, my request to Team YouTube to help restore my live streaming capabilities over at Boulevard 40, where my channel is supposed to be broadcasting live from. I don't know if that will give any help, but I think any little bit couldn't hurt. The more people that retweet, my request, maybe it will get their attention and help them expedite the process so that I can get my channel's live streaming capabilities back. The link to the tweet is on my personal page. I'm trying not to mix my personal with my business, but it's kind of inevitable right now. But I'm live streaming from my personal page right now. That's where the link is at. The tweet is there. If you see a picture of a little gray cat like this, that's the right post. Follow that link, which will take you to Twitter. Retweet it. And the more that's retweeted, the more it pings Twitter to let them know, okay, this person over here, they got some people on their side and they really want this live streaming to be reinstated. See you guys over at Boulevard 40, which is where all the replays are. I'll leave you with that as a screen share as I head on out the door. Take it easy, guys.